Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I think a pretty cool idea that one of my friends brought up is, what if memosprites for the new remembrance path had a different element from the remembrance character? I started to think of this and list down my thoughts for a while and got to the point that I have enough to make a video out of it. Let's say a summon is fire and the summoner itself is ice. It works about as obvious as you think it does. The summon uses stats like fire damage bonus and reduces toughness of fire weak enemies only and deals burn damage on break. The summoner is the complete opposite and uses ice attacks, ice damage bonus, and freezes the enemy on break. It would not be a completely broken design by itself since we already have a unit that does something similar, that being March 7 the Hunt. And honestly, March's version of a double element is less rigid since any element in the party can be hers for the taking. March 7th would be harder to lock out due to having two elements, but that doesn't really matter since every break DPS has an implant, and the devs seem to think that this is a balanced choice, so who am I to judge? Also, March is still effectively doing imaginary damage and only cares about imaginary damage resistance, while our theoretical summon unit cares about both. We can even safeguard this theoretical unit to have high all element damage bonus instead of being able to buff one or the other with fire or ice damage orbs in terms of relics. Sounds good, right? This character only has upsides. Well, actually, dual element like this is more of a disadvantage than an advantage. Sure, you can use this unit in any content that is either fire or ice weak, but then the problem comes if the enemy is no longer neutral to it. Imagine they are straight up resistant to it like an apocalyptic shadow. Now this is a bit of a pickle. If this unit has a 50-50 split between summon and summoner damage, then you are more likely to get one resisted and cut one element to half. Your total damage over time would be cut to 75%. It's a lot easier to fall onto this trap than having just one element, since now it's a 2 out of 7 chance that you get cut with your damage instead of a 1 out of 7 chance. If your character is the literal avatar and can use all 7 elements, then it's guaranteed your damage is cut if any resist is present. Of course, in either of these cases, there's much less to lose if they are unlucky compared to a character with one element who has less chances of getting resisted but feels the full brunt of it once it happens. But also in the future, if they do a freeze or mono element meta, then only one portion of your damage is increased, so you may have less options, but this can be an advantage too if balanced well. Either way, elemental resist isn't that common outside Apocalyptic Shadow, so it would be fair and balanced. Honestly, if you had all 7 elements evenly doing damage, it would take 4 elements resisted by 50% to equate to a 50% damage loss, and that's not happening in almost all scenarios except Apocalyptic Shadow. So in the extreme ranges of 6 to 7, I can actually see it being more of a benefit than it is a downside, while in the low ranges of 1 to 3 elements, there's probably more reasons for it to be a disadvantage than a straight up advantage. But in either of these cases, both probably should be tuned a bit higher than others due to the assumption that this unit will rarely be at 100% full power. But my verdict on this is, yes, it would actually be fairly balanced for a unit to have multiple elements. Anyway, I hope you guys like this new type of video format. Peace.